There's a running joke in the film industry that the most creative people in it are the accountants, and let me explain why. So for example, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man made over $800 million in the box office with just a budget of $140 million. Profitable, right? Not according to the studio. You see, Stan Lee had to sue Marvel because he was told he would get 10% of the profits of the film. However, they told him that it never even broke even despite making all of that money and becoming one of the largest franchises in the world. If it never broke even, then why did they make another one? And the answer to that is Hollywood accounting. So this is where film studios and producers will claim that a movie is less profitable than it actually is so that they can get more tax write-offs. And they do this in a variety of ways. One of the most well-known is the Tabashi scheme, where they'll take two films that come out around the same time and attribute some of the losses from one film to a more profitable film so that it makes the more profitable film look less profitable so that they don't have to pay as many taxes on it. Now, the legalities of it all, of course, are very complex, and there have been multiple times where people have gone to court over this, such as the Stan Lee case. Another major one is the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which according to New Line Cinemas was a major loss for the company, which caused Peter Jackson and several members of the crew, including the Tolkien estate, to actually have to sue them so that they could get their money that they were owed. This is what resulted in the Hobbit films taking so long to make because Peter Jackson refused to sign on for any new films until the case was settled. Another unprofitable film was Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, which supposedly cost the company $167 million, despite it making over $1 billion at the box office. Another thing that companies do write off whenever it comes to major losses for films is their marketing and distribution fees. So when I say Spirit made $120 million on an $80 million budget and that they're considering it a total loss, it's because also they're not including in that budget the marketing and distribution fees, as well as some other movie magic, frankly. So the standard rule of thumb is that it will take another 50% of the budget to make up those marketing and distribution fees. So if Spirit made $120 million on an $80 million budget, it needs to have made $120 million to just break even. Therefore, the studio will consider it a flop because it broke even technically. And honestly, how distribution costs work is insane. So for some films, they have to pay to have a distributor, and on average, the distributor will take 30% of the ticket sales from the theater. So 30% of what you pay for a ticket is likely going to a distributor, which could be Universal Pictures, MGM, there's a lot of them. But Disney is its own distributor. They don't have to pay somebody else. But that is not always a good thing because Disney is now charging the theaters 60% of ticket sales in order to stream their movies. So what does that mean? So if they refuse to pay that 60% of the ticket price to Disney, they won't be able to show any of their major blockbusters. No Star Wars, no Marvel, any of that. And Disney knows that theaters need that. So at the end of the day, some of these movies may be profitable and the studios are reporting them as a flop or a loss, and they're actually not. And some of them, they're just doing it for the tax write-offs. And many of them also are just trying to get their distribution fees back as well as their marketing fees, and so they're considering it a loss. Often we don't know exactly what goes on behind the scenes, but it is a messy process and it is very, very complicated.